Most people spend their entire lives imprisoned by the opinions of people who barely think about them. They wake up, look at a digital screen, step into the world, and unconsciously adjust their posture, their voice, their career choices, and their very identity to appease a nameless, faceless jury of peers. They bleed their own unique essence dry, drop by drop, just to purchase a temporary, fragile ounce of social approval. Let's look into the mirror of your current reality with absolute candor. How many decisions have you made this month alone just to avoid being judged? How many projects have you delayed? How many sentences have you swallowed? And how much of your authentic life are you actively sacrificing to avoid a raised eyebrow or a negative comment? You are treating your finite timeline on this earth as if it were a rehearsal for someone else's play. You are running away from friction, ducking from criticism, and people pleasing your way into a quiet, suffocating mediocrity. But today, the prison door unlocks. If you are ready to develop a mind so structurally sound that no insult can dent it and no praise can corrupt it. Pay close attention. This is a masterclass in psychological warfare and absolute personal sovereignty. To break out of a prison, you must first understand how the walls were constructed. The desperate, chronic need for human approval is an evolutionary inheritance. Millions of years ago, on the harsh savannas, isolation meant absolute death. If your tribe rejected you because of an unfavorable opinion, you were left entirely exposed to apex predators and starvation. Your primitive survival brain still operates on this ancient software. It treats a critical comment on social media or an uncomfortable glare from a coworker as a direct threat to your physical survival, flooding your system with cortisol. Modern society systematically weaponizes this against you. From the school system to social media algorithms, you are conditioned to look outside yourself for validation. You become a compliance drone, terrified of the very thing that can set you free, the friction of standing completely in your own truth. Lesson 1. People think about you far less than you imagine. The spotlight effect exposed. Let us deploy our first clinical behavioral psychology weapon to shatter this illusion, the spotlight effect. This is a well-documented psychological phenomenon proving that human beings drastically overestimate the degree to which others notice, judge, and analyze their appearance, actions, and blunders. We live our lives as the main character of our own internal movie. Because of this deep egocentric bias, we naturally assume that everyone else is sitting in the audience, hyper-focused on our performance. But here is the cold, liberating reality. Nobody cares. Everyone is far too busy, starring in their own internal movie, stressing over their own insecurities, and worrying about what you think of them. The negative judgment you are so deeply terrified of is an illusion. When people comment on your life, it is a passing, fleeting thought that vanishes from their memory banks the moment they scroll to the next piece of digital media. Realizing your own ultimate insignificance to the collective crowd is the most liberating shift in the world. The imaginary audience has left the theater. Lesson 2. Criticism is a reflection of the critics. The mechanics of psychological projection. When someone hurls a bitter insult or a condescending comment toward you, your immediate reflex is to look inward and ask, what is wrong with me? Flip that orientation. completely on its head. To protect your peace, you must understand the clinical mechanism of psychological projection. Human beings cannot output what they do not contain internally. A person who is genuinely fulfilled, highly disciplined, actively building their goals, and at peace with their own soul does not go out of their way to tear down another human being. They simply do not have the surplus energy or the toxic desire to do so. Bile, malice, and unprovoked vitriol are the unmistakable calling cards of the stagnant. When a critic attacks your ambition, your lifestyle, or your progress, they are not delivering an objective evaluation of your worth. They are unknowingly providing an unedited, naked map of their own internal limitations, insecurities, and suppressed envy. See their insults as an involuntary confession of their own internal pain, and you will view them with complete emotional detachment. Lesson 3. You cannot control opinions. The dichotomy of control. To anchor this psychological detachment into an unshakable worldview, we must turn to the deep, uncompromising metaphysics of ancient Stoic philosophy. At the absolute core of Stoicism lies a single, foundational axiom known as the dichotomy of control. Some things are completely up to us, and other things are completely not up to us. Your thoughts, your intentions, your character, and your physical execution are within your internal circle. Other people's minds, their subjective perceptions, and their vocalized opinions reside completely outside your circle. Chasing universal approval is the equivalent of trying to control the weather. It is an absolute mathematical and physical impossibility. No matter how perfect, how kind, or how impeccably careful you are, you will still be misunderstood, mischaracterized, and disliked by someone. Give up the foolish, exhausting crusade to control what happens inside other people's skulls. Lesson 4. Develop internal validation. Building the sovereign standard. To completely destroy the approval trap, you must build an unshakable internal ecosystem of validation. True confidence is not the belief that everyone in the room will like you when you walk in. True confidence is the absolute certainty that you will be completely fine if nobody in the room likes you. It is the transition to an internal locus of control. Internal validation is built on a foundation of clean self-respect, absolute personal standards, and deep, uncompromising integrity. It is the unshakable practice of keeping promises to yourself when no one else is watching, when your internal ledger is filled with daily proofs of your own discipline, consistency, and honor. Your self-worth becomes an impenetrable fortress. When a critic steps up to attack your life, your mind looks inward at your stack of executed realities and concludes that the critic's opinion is completely irrelevant. Confidence is a clinical side effect of keeping your word to yourself. Lesson 5. Build an unbreakable mindset. The architecture of the inner citadel. To survive the non-stop psychological static of the modern world, you must construct the inner citadel. This is an impenetrable fortress within your own consciousness where you possess the absolute, uncompromised power to choose your response to any external input. The great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. An insult is not a physical arrow that punctures your flesh. It is merely a collection of acoustic sound waves traveling through the air, or a series of digital pixels arranged on a smartphone screen. It only gains the power to hurt you when your mind actively welcomes it across the drawbridge and spins a narrative that your self-worth has been damaged. The inner citadel allows you to accept the raw facts while instantly burning the emotional extensions at the gate. You are standing at an absolute, non-negotiable fork in your psychological road. Path A, the social slave. Chasing validation, wearing social masks, absolute lifestyle paralysis. The outcome? A hollow, compliant life, ending in permanent toxic regret. Path B, the sovereign king. Driven by values, internal standards, completely immune to the noise. The result? High execution, deep personal sovereignty, and absolute freedom. You can choose the road of the social slave, living your life in a defensive crouch, constantly checking your mirrors, and altering your personality to avoid friction. It leads directly to a final room filled with nothing but devastating, toxic regret. Or you can choose the path of the sovereign mind. On this road, you drop the masks, kill the people-pleasing, and step completely into your own truth. The noise hits your fortress and falls flat into the dirt like a blunt arrow against granite. You move with raw, uncompromised focus, experiencing a level of deep, crystalline freedom that the average person will never touch. Let the absolute truth settle deep into your neural pathways. People are going to judge you, whether you act or not. Since criticism is an absolute, unavoidable metric of the physical universe, you might as well be judged while chasing your highest potential. Freedom does not begin when the crowd stops talking. Freedom begins when their approval becomes completely unnecessary to your execution. The moment you stop needing permission from the world is the exact moment you become truly free. Stop waiting for permission. Stand up tall, draw the drawbridge of your inner citadel shut, and run your life with the fierce, unshakable focus of a sovereign king. Go straight down to the comment section right now and write down the one opinion, the one critic, or the one social fear that you are officially going to stop worrying about today. Declare your sovereignty in writing. If this masterclass delivered raw, uncompromised value to your psychological arsenal, smash the like button immediately. Share this video with one man who is currently trapped by people-pleasing, and subscribe to Mind Over Noise to lock into our weekly self-improvement modules. Stay sovereign, stay unshakable,